In this video, we'll discuss the different contacts, roles, and groups within SES, both on the supervisory activities side and the consumer complaints side. It's helpful to divide all the people that can be in the system into 3 different categories: contacts, roles, and groups. Let's begin with the contacts. Hopefully, you've already watched the company enrollment process video. As part of the company enrollment process, the first user invited onto SES by the regulator is required to assign 2 contacts: the supervisory activity contact and the complaints contact. Assigning these 2 contacts is very important because as soon as the regulator sends information related to either a supervisory activity, for example, an exam or an investigation, or a consumer complaint, that information will first arrive in the form of a task appearing on the homepage of either the supervisory activity contact, if it is related to an exam or an investigation, or on the homepage of the complaints contact, if it is related to a complaint. The reason why these contacts were established in the system is because it allows a designated individual or individuals to receive notifications each time supervisory activities or consumer complaints are sent to companies. These contacts are the ones who will receive the initial notification that either a supervisory activity or complaint has been sent to the company. Note, if you are a larger team, you may want the notification to also be sent to a group email. There is a field where you can enter the group email for this purpose. Let's quickly take a look at what the tasks look like on each contact's homepage to better understand this concept. Here we have a company named My Loans. At My Loans, the supervisory activity contact is Tammy, and the complaints contact is Linda. So when information requests within an exam or investigation are sent by the regulator, an email will be sent to Tammy, and a task will appear on her homepage, since she is the supervisory activity contact. The task is to assign a company lead. The company lead is the person who will communicate back and forth with the agency until the exam is marked closed. Only the supervisory activity contact can assign the company lead. Similarly, on the complaint side, if information requests within a complaint are sent by the regulator, an email will be sent to Linda, and a task will appear on her homepage, since she's the complaints contact. The task here is to assign a complaint point of contact, or POC. The complaint POC is the person who will communicate back and forth with the agency until the complaint is closed. Only the complaints contact can assign the complaint POC. Now let's discuss the groups. Groups is what SES uses to create a partition in the system. For example, currently there is the supervisory activity section, which includes exams and investigations, and the consumer complaint section. If in the future further partitions need to be created, a group will be created for that. So the supervisory activity side is the main entry point into the system. But if a user needs to use the complaint side, once they are placed in the complaints group, they can navigate to it using the waffle menu next to the profile picture. Let's now discuss the roles. Roles can be further divided into 2 categories: roles in the system and roles on a supervisory activity or a complaint. Let's first look at the roles within the system. These 4 individuals work for the company My Loans. Sometimes, My Loans hires a lawyer when legal advice is necessary. In SES, at the system level, there are 4 different roles: the account administrator, the leader, the contributor, and the third-party user. The account administrator, leader, and contributor roles are grouped together, while the third-party user role is on its own page. And that is because you wouldn't assign someone from within your company as a third-party user. A third-party user would be someone outside your company, like a lawyer, for example. Here are the roles each person will hold at My Loans at the system level. Tammy will serve as the account administrator, meaning she will be able to add and remove user accounts and roles. Vikram will hold the leader role. Savut will hold the contributor role. Zara will be a third-party user, and Linda will be responsible for processing complaints. So Tammy, the AA, will need to place Linda in the complaints group and give her the leader role in the system. When an agency initiates the company enrollment process, the first user entered into the system by the agency automatically holds the account administrator and the leader roles. There can be up to 3 account administrators. All account administrators must also hold the leader or contributor role. The 2 contacts we mentioned earlier must be assigned by the account administrator. Assigning these contacts is required. If these contacts aren't assigned in the system, when the regulator sends either an exam or a complaint to your company, the task will not be generated and an email notification will not appear until your contacts are assigned. Now that we know the 4 roles within the system, let's take a look at which roles a person must hold in the system in order to be able to perform the necessary tasks both on an exam or a complaint. First, we'll take a look at the roles on an exam. They are a company lead, a contributor, a third-party user, and a coordinator. For detailed information on what tasks each role can perform, please go to www.stateexaminationsystem.org and search for company user roles. A company lead is responsible for managing the company's participation in an exam from its initiation to closure. If you remember, the supervisor activity contact selects the company lead. In order to hold the company lead role on an exam, you must hold the leader role in the system. Within each exam, there is a participants page. On that page, the company lead can add additional participants, such as the contributor. The contributor can view much of the data within an exam and can assist the company lead on the exam to which they have been added. Adding a contributor to an exam is optional. If there's a third-party user that needs to participate on a specific exam, the account administrator will need to assign that person the role of third-party user in the system, and that will allow the company lead to add that person as either a third-party user or a coordinator on the exam. Additionally, if the company lead decides that it's better to have the third-party user communicate with the agency, then they could also reassign the company lead role and give it to the third-party user. So the third-party user in the system can hold either the company lead, the third-party user, or the coordinator role on an exam. Because the third-party user is someone that is outside the company, once the exam is marked closed, that third-party user is removed from the exam. So for our company, My Loans, first, the regulator found My Loans in SES, and clicked Company User Enrollment to initiate the company enrollment process, and entered Tammy's information. That's what allowed her to become the account administrator for the company My Loans. Additionally, Tammy also holds the leader role, as those are the 2 roles automatically granted to the first company user that is enrolled. Technically, those are the only 2 roles required in the system. If Tammy were a one-person company, she'd be set. So long as she assigns herself as both the contacts, she would have all the permissions needed to manage both supervisory activities and complaints. But let's return to our actual example. So Tammy is the AA, and she knows that Vikram will be responsible for most of the exams their company undergoes. So she assigns him the leader role in the system, and since she's the supervisory activity contact, she assigns him the company lead role each time a task to assign the company lead appears on her homepage. Remember, the company lead is the only role that can communicate back and forth on an exam. Quite often, Vikram needs a second pair of eyes and needs assistance with exams. For this, he relies on Savut, to whom Tammy gave the role of contributor in the system, allowing Vikram to add Savut as the contributor on the exam. In this specific case, the two names of the roles in the system and on the exam happen to be the same. Every now and again, the company My Loans needs external legal assistance. For this, they rely on Zara. Tammy has assigned her the role of third-party user at the system level. This allows Vikram to add her as a coordinator or a third-party user on the exam. If Vikram needed to reassign the company lead role from himself to Zara, he could also do that. Now you know all the roles in the system and all the roles on a supervisory activity, specifically an exam. So let's switch gears. Let's move to the consumer complaints section. If you remember, Tammy had placed Linda in the complaints group. That action took place at the system level, allowing Linda to be assigned the complaints contact. Because Linda is the complaints contact, anytime a consumer complaint is sent by the regulator, she will be notified through an email and a task will appear on her homepage. She will be tasked with assigning the complaints POC, which again stands for point of contact. Because she's the only person at My Loans responsible for complaints management, Linda will assign herself as the complaint POC. This will allow her to view the details within the complaint and communicate back and forth with the agency until the complaint is marked closed. Now you know the difference between contacts, roles at the system level, and roles on a supervisory activity or a complaint, and groups. As a reminder, please visit stateexaminationsystem.org and search for company user roles to learn more about each role. Thank you for watching.